the points that you need this week? What's going on?
It's going all right. It could be better. This week I made some picks that I regretted, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, let's stay on top of the great picks though and the great insight. I know you're holding on to Booty there. What are your thoughts on Booty? I want to get because a lot of people are not sure whether to sit or start him. I know you weren't maybe expecting this question, but I wanted to get into your thoughts before this upcoming slot of games this week. What are you thinking on Booty?
I'm a sit and watch right now. He's gonna be on my bench for now just because of the inconsistencies. First week he had 8 targets, and this week he only had one. Granted, it was a touchdown, which I'm happy about, but I was expecting more, targets on that game. But so yeah, he's a wait and see. I'll have him on my bench.
All right, so bench, wait and see. Hopefully he gets the target share this week. He is at home against Pittsburgh, and that's Aaron Rodgers and the boys. So projected to do 7 points on sleeper, but we'll see if he can put up some more. Good, but I want to get into the big hitters of this week. Lucky to have them on your roster. If your name's Callie, that is Malik Neighbors, and you wanted to get into why he is your guy for the week.
Yeah, yeah. I think Malik Neighbors absolutely killed it. If you look at the numbers breakdown, 13 targets, 9 catches for 167 yards. That's the most yardage, I believe, for that week. 2 touchdowns, and absolutely a great pick. I love the game. The game going into overtime. Despite going against someone who had Dak, who also did well. And I had to love that game.
Yeah, you love to see the overtime games, but you hate that your players aren't in there, especially if you have Wayne Dale sitting on the bench. However, who could have called the worst QB coming out of week one to become the number one QB coming into week two? And then the big mystery is how is he going to do this next week coming up when they're at home against Kansas City? Which has seen some injuries. But are they going to be able to put up the same numbers they did last week? Is Malik Neighbors somebody who's obviously streamable for you if you had him in your lineup?
Yeah. I would say I would play Malik. They're gonna have a tougher defense, but he is their number one wide receiver, and he has earned that title. So yeah, I'd play him hands down.
And what do you think about the Giants running back? I know we didn't want to get too much into this, but Scattaboo, Tracy, are any of these streamable against Pittsburgh for you?
Well, for me, or you mean against Kansas City?
Yeah, Kansas City, Kansas City. Yep, my
Uh,
apologies.
I no, it's a we all mess it up. There's uh, so many games in different weeks. Uh, 52% of snaps last game. I think if you're on the fence and you're kind of unsure who you want in a flex spot, I think Scatterbo can be a really good one. But we'll see.
So Scattaboo is a flex. And then what are your thoughts on Waynedale? Always hit with a questionable, tending to a foot issue. What's with the feet? What's with the feet this year?
And what? Yeah, hey, yeah, that's how it is.
Oh, he
Um,
was trending so well. He had 18 targets already this season. His last game, 17 yards per carry. First game, 9 yards per carry. He was trending really well for a flex spot, and now I see a questionable marker. I mean, that's definitely a wait and see for me. Oh,
yeah, you're gonna watch his practices. He was limited participant. Um, so if he starts to play full participation towards the end of the week, definitely he's a good one to put on your flex spot.
Well, there you have it. The Giants talking about using them when wasn't typically the case. Now, let's get into my guy for the week, and that's James Cook. Obviously, this running game was just monstrous. He put up a massive amount of points, earning 132 yards. And to put that into perspective, I believe Penix did within 5 yards of that in total for throwing and passing yards, and they still won. So I would just say James Cook, obviously a champion beast to have on your team. And if you're wondering, is he going to be putting up the same type of points? Look, he's going into the same type of atmosphere where I feel like they will get up in the points very high and early against Miami. And then they will turn to the running game because they won't be putting it in the air. They'll be preserving Josh Allen, and that's what we saw. I mean, James Cook is good age, 25. And I think he's the age where they can just keep running him over and over again. 21 attempts. I mean, 21 times this guy gets the ball. I mean, that is what you want to see out of a running back that you have in your slot there.
Definitely.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's get into the game forecast for the week. And I want to talk about the games that are not on Sunday. And that is the first one coming up. We got Buffalo against Miami.
Oh
I,
yeah, that one. Um, that one makes me questionable on the throwing game because Miami has not looked great this season. So, um, I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out.
Right. I mean, will it be the same type of strategy? And does that mean that you're looking to Khalil Shakir or even Keon Coleman as sort of maybe not the best week to stream them? Obviously, James Cook is going to be a play. Shakir is most likely either your wide receiver one or two or a flex if you have such a strong game. But Keon Coleman, I don't know if you want to play him.
Yeah, that's a tough pick. I know for me, I would be like debating, like if you're in a gamble where you want to say, maybe he gets a touchdown, he has a potential to score some points, but um, to me, I think there are better options. But at least for me on my side, uh, it'd be a tough choice. Like if it was between, let's say, um, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. Like last week, how I picked Booty because I was like, I'm taking a little bit of a gamble, hoping he gets maybe another touchdown or two and more usage. And since they're against a weaker defense, I think the throwing game's going to be less as the game goes on because once the lead grows, that means they're going to be throwing it less. They're going to want to run it more so they can run out that clock.
Seems that Buffalo put up 4 sacks on the road against the New York Jets defense and actually put Justin Fields into a concussion. Are you worried about Tua?
Oh, I think I'm always worried about Tua, especially after last season. Um, yeah, I'm worried about his job right now. I'll say that because the the streak of them doing horrible is just continuing. And while he looked better the second week, I don't know. He might. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think he will be throwing the ball a lot, um, since I feel like they will be down most of the game. But we'll see. That might they might have to change it up against the defense with the Bills.
Well, it looks to me, looking at the stats, Tua has an offense line issue where he is running into 8 sacks in the first 2 games. I mean, that is hard to deal with. It's hard to get time in that pocket to make the decent throws, and yet still, he was still able to complete 26 tosses for 315 yards, 2 touchdowns. However, you hate to see the one interception. However, didn't do too bad for fantasy scoring people over 32 points, but I think what needs to happen is a stronger defensive showing. I mean, 8 sacks in the first 2 games. It's too much. Now, the one thing I'll say about Miami, if you've watched the documentary Game Changers, this is something that I literally put into my head every time I think about it. Miami on the road is going to eat Popeye's chicken before their game. I swear to I mean, how are you expecting them to perform peak optimal in the fourth quarter on the road being fueled off of Popeye's chicken? I'm telling you, it's something that I factor in, and I feel like it hurts Miami. I feel like they run out of steam in the end. Just thinking. It's something to
Yeah.
think about. I don't know. Tua, will he show up again for people? I don't know if he's the week to play. However, something that you want to keep in mind is it looks like Miami's going to be playing from behind, which means you may get some long bombs out of Tua.
Very true, very true. And I think I was looking at the stats of last week, where the Bills were up against the Jets, and or this past week, and Brees Hall only got 29 yards out of 10 carries. They're holding up really well on the running backs. So I Achan is going to be great because he's very versatile. He can catch, he can run. So I think that will help their offense. But I also think it's still an uphill battle, like just because of how strong of a defense the Bills have, and well, I say strong. They're not that strong of a defense, but I think they're stronger than New England's, who they faced last week. So it's gonna be a toss up.
Well, the Bills have put up 6 sacks in the past 2 games. Obviously, against the Jets, they put Fields into a concussion and they earned fantasy defense 18 points. Um, I mean, they were able to stop them to 150 yards. So
Yeah.
could we see the same performance out of the Buffalo Bills defense against a not so strong team? And in addition, they'll be at home. I'm honestly I'm picking the Bills to stream for defense this week, so I'm hoping out a good show for them.
I could definitely see that. It is at home. They're gonna probably perform better, um, and I do think that they'll hold them fairly well. Uh, and it's really going to be up to Tua. If Tua can dish it out, then he might be able to get some offense off on the Bills. They still have some weapons. Like I said, Achan. They got Tyreek Hill. You got Jalen Waddle. Um, and that to me, those are the main targets. I don't see them. If you have any of the other players, I probably wouldn't use them personally.
Oh, looks
Uh,
like 8 hours ago, Jaden Waddle officially listed as questionable.
mm,
Um, so we'll see. You want to wait and see if he's going to be playing for Thursday. Wow. They could let us know and give us a little bit of time in advance here.
yeah, he was listed limited on Tuesday, um, and so yeah, I am iffy on him. I probably wouldn't play him personally, but
Fantasy
if
managers may need to wait until 90 minutes before divisional matchup before his status is made official. I mean, if he's out, you should play Tyreek Hill because he'll probably get majority of targets. Even would you say even Malik Washington maybe because they're going to be tossing it, and if Tua can complete 20 passes, I mean there are some opportunities here for wide receivers.
there are, like, if you're in a gamble, I guess if Waddle doesn't play, Malik Washington could be a potential flex spot for you because somebody's got to be the target. Tyreek, I know, will get some targets because he's been doing pretty well. He got 6 targets, 4 received first week for 40 yards, and then six receives out of 7 targets for 109 yards last week. Um, so yeah, Tyreek would probably be a solid flex spot. I just don't know. It's up as I said before. It's up to Tua and how well he performs. If he plays like he did against the Colts, which looked fantastic this year, I think they're going to be in a tough spot.
Well, my crazy prediction is Tua goes down in the third, and we see Zach Wilson take over. But I don't want to wish that on you, Tua. I had you on my team all last year, so I'm pulling for you. I hope you break 300 again. So, all the power to you. All
Mhm.
right, let's get into the tight end though for Buffalo. Are you playing Kincaid, top 10 tight end, 48% of snaps, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 37 yards. So it's a decent showing. Week 1 he had a fumble, but he was still able to get 48 yards. Is he a play for this week? Do you think Josh Allen will be doing the short toss slants for the tight end?
He seemed to utilize him a lot in against the Jets, so I'd assume that we're going to see a decent amount of him this week as well. I don't think he's the best tight end to pick this week, but I I do think he's going to get some yardage and he's going to look solid.
Yeah, he seems
So
to be
so
consistent around the 40 to 50 mark for yardage.
mm,
And he did get a touchdown week 1, but I feel like they will be using, like you said, the same play set against the Jets as they will against Miami.
yeah.
All right. Well, what about the Miami tight end? We have Darren Waller, sorry, who was ruled out for Thursday due to a hip injury. So who is that going to leave us with? Next on the list is Julian
Julian
Hill,
Hill.
not targeted in week 2 loss. However, he was on the field for 51% of snaps, and he was on the field for 58% of the snaps. But I guess they just have him sort of observing and learning because he has not touched the ball.
I mean, we look at back to last year. He didn't really get a lot of play time either. Last year, even when he was in 52% of snaps, he was only maybe getting 2 targets. I would not play him personally.
It looks like they may go with Tanner Connor. He was targeted 4 times in uh, in the first game in the first week, and he was on the field for about 60% of snaps. They may be using him, but it's a toss up, and I don't see a high ceiling out of these tight ends here.
Yeah, I would not pick any of the tight ends personally for this game in this matchup on the Miami side.
Maybe Kincaid if you had to.
Yeah, uh, that would be the only like solid one I'd say.
All right, well, let's get into the next game, and that's what we wanted to talk about a little bit was the Eagles and the Rams.
Oh yeah,
Eagles
that's gonna be a
fly
fun game.
like an eagle. It is projected pretty close. Tight, I believe. My pick score says 55 to 45%. But I think personally we'll see the Eagles come out on top. But any given Sunday, the defense on the Philadelphia Eagles has not been the most spectacular. They've given up around 300 yards both games. So that could mean a lot of yardage for the Rams. However, man, the Eagles do not have an easy start with Dallas, Kansas City, the Rams. Then after this, they're on the road to Tampa Bay. Then they got Denver. I mean, the first 5 weeks are brutal for the Eagles. However, will we see them pull out Saquon? This is going to be tough. I mean, the Rams are a tough defense.
They are, yeah. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. I think they will utilize Saquon, and I think he's going to do well. He's been doing pretty solid the past 2 weeks. Not as great as I think people wanted him to be.
Nope.
Um, yeah, it sucks a little bit. But I feel like that was expected. You're not going to do as well. You're after such a big year last year. I expect him still to play well. I would assume around 25 points. You can expect that on him, unless he takes off and gets a couple touchdowns. Then maybe you might see him break through that 30 point this week, which I'm sure would be nice for you.
Yes, it would be. Because some of us were like, we have to take Saquon Barkley if he's there, but also the Madden curse, so don't get injured.
I think another benefit as well is people have started criticizing the tush push, um, and
Yep.
n- pointing out I think they're gonna maybe try and do that less this game, because the more they consistently use it and the more criticism they get, it might backlash on them. So maybe that equals Saquon getting the ball for an easy touchdown or two. So it might get you some extra points with him.
Yes, the notorious tush push. People were not liking it. However, I mean, it works, right? They're able to get yardage every single time they use it. However, I mean, they almost lost the ball. I mean, they came out with a fumble afterwards, but damn, it is a controversial attack, a controversial strategy, but it's been ruled legal and they're going to keep using it when they can use it. But yeah,
Yeah.
interesting point to bring up there with the tush push. All right, well, going down the roster, Jalen Hurts, obviously streamable for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It
Uh,
it may be a shootout, right? So he's going to be tossing the ball. It's going to be going through the air. Um,
Maybe a tush push or two. Then they might not try for too many, but they might go for maybe one. That'll get you a running touchdown. Will get you some good points there.
oh, what is
Um,
this? Designed runs are coming for Jalen Hurts. Why I don't understand this move when you have the best running back at your disposal. Why would you send your QB into harm's way like that? That doesn't make too much sense to me, but this is their strategy. The coaches get paid the big bucks to do this, but doesn't make sense to me.
yeah. So I mean, they're gonna want to run him a little bit more. Him do some rushing yardage. He didn't do so hot week 2, week 1. I think for 14 attempts and only 62 yards, I it's a little iffy. Like I just think like even with the 9 attempts this past week for only 15-yard gain, granted, I believe that's mostly just to get over the line for a first down and stuff like that. Uh, Maybe for they're looking for longer yardage on those runs, and I think that's what they're mostly talking about.
I mean, put it into perspective. I think Rattler was better for fantasy than Jalen Hurts last week. Um, 15 completions is low, low, low,
Yeah,
low.
I expect him to throw it more this game though, and so like if I would even say if you've got AJ Brown, I'd probably play him because I expect him to get more targets and more yardage.
AJ Brown, 97% of snaps, 8 targets, 5 receptions. He only made it for 27 yards, and week 1 he only made it for 8 yards. You're saying still play him, still have faith in him. Would this be your third week of trying him if he was on his team, and third strike you're out if he doesn't get more than 10?
Yeah, I would personally, yes. For me, if I'm running AJ Brown, I'd give him that one more chance because, I mean, if you look at his record last year, I mean, I'm looking at some of his games against Washington: 15 targets, 8 receptions for 97 with a touchdown. Um, 11 targets, 8 receptions for 110 and a touchdown against the Steelers, who arguably had a better defense back last year. Um, I think he was a streamable player last year, and I think we should start to see that happen more as these games start to ramp up, and they need that yardage.
How do you feel about their tight end situation with Godert? Oh, questionable.
Goddard, yeah,
Officially
he is
limited on
questionable.
Wednesday, 4 hours
Yeah,
ago.
he's a watch, but he is a good tight end. I would definitely play him this week
He did
if he
not play
plays.
last week. 0% of snaps, but week one he had 83% of snaps, 7 targets, 7 receptions. You'd love to see that. You throw the ball to him, he catches it. 44 yards, which is what is decent for a tight end. Yeah, but they may need to go to Grant Calacatera. My apologies there. He
Alcantara.
was he was on the field for 88% of snaps last game. However, he only got targeted twice and with 1 reception. He's definitely not streamable for fantasy sakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't personally play him. If Godern doesn't play, I wouldn't pick him personally. But you never know, as I said before.
Any given Sunday, right?
Oh yeah.
How
Sometimes
about
it's the wildest catches, you know.
how? Oh my God, damn you, Waynedale, sitting on my bench making the most amazing catches. Anyways, I digress. Well, Sutton, he sat there and did nothing. All right, which fantasy freaking genius would say bench Sutton and play Waynedale instead? I tell you, any given
hey,
Sunday.
hey, you could have played Krosky Merritt instead of a Dunze, you know.
I'm glad for you that Krosky didn't meet Eckler's fate. So
That's
uh
true.
at least the ceiling is still high for Krosky.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, every time I see him play, he is a good push target. You know, he can get some yardage just rushing in. It also worries me that that might cause injuries on his end. Um, so I could see them not wanting to use him so much, but with Eckler out, they're going to use him.
Yeah, they're going to be forced to. They don't have many people left back there. Uh, but what about the Rams? Stafford, is he going to be putting up the 23 completions? He's going to be on the road again, which is not a great mix, but he's gotten 250, 300. He is big on the yardage. He's good on the throws. He completes them. What do you think for Matthew Stafford? Does it look like a good streamable game for him?
I think so. I think he's still a good quarterback. He's not like a, a top one that I would say that's been performing super well this year, but in terms of like yardage thrown, he does throw that ball. So I would probably play him on a flex. I should say on a flex league, super flex league specifically. If but I think there are better QBs if you're in a single QB league, and so he wouldn't be my number one target on this game. Jalen Hurts is easily the better quarterback to play.
Well, there you have it. Definitely a little bit of a risky take because I would say Stafford has had the better performance this year. But You take what you take based on the matchups. So Philadelphia will be playing from home, and it gets comfortable there. Now, what about Kyrene Williams? He was supposed to run a touchdown yesterday, or sorry, last week, like he always does. However, it wasn't him, it was Corum, and that broke the streak of the Kyrene Williams one touchdown a game for week after week. I know you were looking forward to it if you're a fantasy manager. I know Ray's got him there. He gets you one touchdown a week. He's solid for those points. He's a good flex person, but now you got Quorum sharing the work and using that red line usage, which you don't want to see. Do you think it was a defensive move trying to trick it up, or do you think this is going to be an ongoing trend?
I think the coach is going to use them strategically. Um, I think Kyron is still their main guy. I think just if they're trying to bull rush, into the defensive line, I think Corum is now that guy to try and push it a couple yards, just like the Krosky Merritt is for the Washington Commanders. So I think he will probably get some more usage, especially as the season goes on. They're going to try him out, try new tactics. Um, but I think Kyron is going to be your guy for this game.
Right. Well, we will wait and see. Now, obviously, Puka Nakoa is definitely streamable. 100%. You've got to play him in this game. He was electric in week 2. He's consistent from day 1. He's getting 27 points for fantasy managers. I'd be shocked if he didn't get around that 27-point mark again. 130 yards, which is just silly week 1 against Houston. And then on the road, he got 91 against Tennessee. Will he get around the 90 to 100 mark again? I think it's extremely possible, especially with Stafford slinging the balls like he does. So I definitely look out for Puka getting around 25 points this week.
I agree. Puka Nakua is one of those top wide receivers. You love to see it. He would be definitive on my wide receiver spot. Um, even I would even say Devontae Adams is also going to be a good option for this week. Uh, I mean, look, last week he had 13 targets. Granted, he only had 6 receives, but for 106 yards and a touchdown. And then
Yeah,
the first
that's
week,
amazing.
yeah, first week 8 targets, 4 receives. He was catching 50%, which isn't great. If you think about it, if he caught like a couple more, like maybe even 2 more passes, he would easily be a great flex spot.
Well,
So yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Stafford's slinging these far throws to him. I mean, he's getting 6 receptions for 106 yards. He's getting what, around 10 yards per carry here. I
it's 17.
20,
It was
yeah, 20. So
seventeen.
these are longer throws. I think that's maybe why he's missing them, but he's got those opportunities, and to me that's the most exciting. He's got the most chances to get these big plays.
He does. He does have those opportunities. I think that's why he got that touchdown last week. Um, and even with the first week, 4 catches for 51 yards, 12 average of 12.7 yards per carry. Um, as of before, he is a great flex spot. Now I would have him in your flex.
Now, Jordan Whittington, I wanted to pull him up. He's wide receiver 3. He was on the field for 64% of snaps. However, only 2 targets, but 2 receptions. I like to see that. They're clean. You catch the ball. Good. And he's got 20 yards per carry. Plus, he's got good hair. Uh, I would
I think
definitely put him on my watch. But yeah. What
yeah,
do you
yeah.
think?
If I would watch for him if he performs well. I saw his snap percentage go up from the first week to the second, from 50 to 64%. Um, And like you said, he got 2 catches last week. If they continue to use him and if he's reliable, as you said, 2 for 2 is always a great stat. A reliable wide receiver, they might shift to maybe utilizing him a bit more.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's got some kick returns here. They used him
Yeah,
on special teams, I guess, in week one. They're kind of trying to slot him in different places and find where he needs to be.
yeah, 2 kick returns for 60 yards. So uh, it's not bad, you know. But he's it seems like he's growing. If he's available more on more snap percentages, that means they like him. So yeah, he's one to watch out for in the future.
All right, let's move on to the tight ends. Now, what do you like for Herbert's tight ends? Do you like Higbee?
Herbert, you mean Matt Stafford?
Stafford. Yep. Do you like Tyler Higbee?
I like Higby.
75% of snaps, 4 targets for 4 receptions, only 37 yards, but he got 7 points. Not the highest scoring tight end by any matter.
No, he's not. He's not the best pick. I mean, like if your main tight end's out, like if you had, you know, Kittle and you need that backup tight end. I think Higby could be like a decent, one to have just for like a week or two. But I would not rely on him fully for like the whole season. It's just more of a backup.
Yeah, it
He's
doesn't
rel-
look like they're taking advantage of any of their other tight ends other than Davis Allen. He picked up about 3 targets this year, 2 receptions, but not many yardage with less than 50% of snaps. So I wouldn't. It's all about Higby, but again, very low usage. And I think what's exciting about, let me get this right so I don't mess it up, Matthew Stafford is the potential for those long bombs with Devontae Adams and Puka. So that's probably where I'd focus my gameplay on.
yeah, I agree.
All right, well, that will end our fantasy chat for this week. I think we've run out of times, and I want to be able to go through my picks. Um, so we are going to go through that, and I want to get your insights here on who do you like. We got the week one, so every week we go through the picks of the week, trying to see who's gonna win, who's gonna lose this week, and uh, and yeah, Maker helps me win some money possibly. So we have the Dolphins and the Bills. So the majority of people are saying 1% chance for Dolphins, 99% for Bills. So I'm obviously gonna go Bills. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Bills hands down.
Yeah. Panthers Falcons. I mean, even though they're at home in Carolina, I just got to give it up to the Falcons, right?
Yeah, I agree. Bijan's been doing solid. Algier did a great game last year. I think even despite the low passing game, I think Falcons have this in the bag.
And if you're holding on to Drake London and you're like, why did you have such a crap game? Just ride it
Hold
out.
out.
Use the Maker 3 rule, all right?
Yeah,
He had a good first week. He had a bad second week, but it'll bounce back. I'm here for you. I understand, okay? I was outraged. I get it.
yeah, hold out.
Hold out.
Those tough games for where they're going to need to throw it a lot are coming, and who's their target? Drake London.
Now, Sutton, you got one more week, or else I'm dropping you. Packers Browns. I'm giving it. I'm. Are Packers continuing this streak? Are they going 3-0?
Oh yeah, it's, I I s- I only see it going one way. I don't. To me, Flacco's he's not the best quarterback. Um, and I just think that their weapons aren't there. You know, it does seem that he likes Fannin, which is great for the rookie. Um, but Green Bay just has it all right now. They're the one Super Bowl, I would say, contender right now, based on how well they look. Defense, they killed it against the Commanders. They made Commanders who made it all the way up to further into the, or sorry, I should say, um, they
The
made it
division
decently far.
champions, right?
Yeah, exactly. They made it decently far towards the Super Bowl, and the fact that Green Bay just rolled over them last week is it's crazy.
Yeah. Rolled over them and sent two of them in a stretcher away, and Jaden Daniels. I mean, it was a vicious game. The defense on the Packers is ferocious.
It is.
Moving on, Texans Jaguars. Now the Texans came within 6 seconds of beating the Tampa Bay. Their O line not that strong. They were letting a lot of things through. See, Stroud was barely had any time to make decisions. However, the Jaguars, right? When do they complete
Yeah.
anything? I Majority of people are saying the Jaguars at home, but I'm inclined to say I think the Texans have it.
I think this one's a tough matchup because the Jaguars have been playing well this season. I say that, and they like lost their recent match. Um, but man, ETN killed it. You know, he's been doing really well. Um, you know, I would say despite Brian Thomas not doing super great, um, I just think that they're they're doing well, at least for compared to last season, I would say. So I think they'll put up a fight, but I am leaning more towards the Texans, just a hair.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence, 24 completions for 42 attempts. He threw two interceptions. Uh, I mean, I don't like 42 attempts, but 24 completions is good for 271 yards. However, their defense let away with 350 yards against them.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. I'm gonna give it to the Texans. I think a lot of hope is coming out of Brian Thompson, and I went to go look at his stats here, and I'm like,
Here comes.
why is it? I mean, he's got 12. He's got a lot of targets, right? But his receptions are not great. 4 receptions for 12 targets. That
It's
is,
because he did fantastic last year. I think that's why if we start to see either Trevor Lawrence getting into the groove, this is where I think that they could potentially win. You look at last year's games, against the Jets, 14 targets, 10 receives for 105 yards. Raiders, they had 13 targets, 9 receives for 132 yards with Brian Thomas. So these are like really high point games last year. So if if he gets in the groove and starts to catch those passes and um, really does well, but their run game, it seems like they're relying kind of heavier on that with ETN doing a lot of workload.
yeah, a lot of run game, and then you're going up against Texans, which shut down Irving a lot of the time there. So uh,
I
maybe I'll give it up to
I
the
mean
Texans.
Irving still got 71 yards on them.
Oh, did he?
Um,
Okay, that's pretty
yeah,
decent.
so I think ETN's gonna do well as well because he ETN can kind of he's more of a finesse back. I think um, and I think he'll do well. So that's why it's such a close game for me personally. I know some would argue that it's not as close of a
No,
matchup.
the population here says it's also close. The Jaguars also putting up a pretty decent defense stats this year, so we'll see what happens. It's any given Sunday. The Texans don't want to go 3-0, but the Jaguars are 1-1 and they want to keep a good score going on. So I'm going to give it to the Texans. After them watching them battle Tampa Bay, I just feel like they've got what it takes to win this one. Bengals, the bruised up Bengals versus the bruised up Vikings. The battle of the backup QBs. Who do you got for backup QBs? Browning or Wentz?
Ooh, this is a tough one because both haven't been playing super well. Me personally,
Well, the Bengals are 2-0 and the Vikings are 1-1. Browning came out with a big win. However, their O line doesn't give him a lot of time to make decisions. Majority's going with the Vikings this week, as the Vikings will be at home.
yeah, and I expect Browning not to do as well um as Burrow. Um, but he seemed to really like Jamar Chase last week. I could definitely see a lot of points for Jamar Chase, and I don't know. Maybe it's me just rooting on the Bengals to pull it out. But without Burrow, I've kind of lost, hope for a Super Bowl run. But I still kind of lean towards the Bengals on this one.
Well, this is where we differ, and we'll have to record. I'm going with the Vikings. I'm gonna go with the home team. Now we got Steelers versus the Maker and your Drake May. I know
No,
you're a
I
big
don't have
fan.
Drake.
I know,
I
but
like
you're a
Drake
big
May.
fan. You're a big fan
I
of
am
the
a
May.
fan of. I've I almost grabbed him this year. I won't lie. Um, uh, I'm leaning towards towards New England on this one. The
They are at
Steelers have
home.
not. Yeah, and the Steelers haven't been looking the best to me. Um,
Aaron Rodgers had a good first game, but not so great second showing. Um, but can Drake May target the booty in the end zone?
we'll see.
I inclined to agree with you on this one. I really think the Patriots have what it takes. I think Drake May is had a great performance last week. I think he's going to connect well. I just think their running game. I hope they're able to push through the Steelers because I know the Steelers defense is a tough one. So I think they're going to be under a lot of pressure.
I do think it's going to be a tougher matchup on the defense side. Um, while I'm rooting on the Patriots, yeah, I think
It's an underdog match. It's an underdog.
yeah, yeah. It might be against the grain, but yeah, I think the Patriots pull a win out on this one.
And now we just talked about it. The Eagles and the Rams both coming off of two victories. Are you giving it to the ex champs or are you giving it to the Rams?
Oh, this is also such a lot of tough matchups in my opinion this week.
So the
I
majority of people are saying 90% are saying Eagles. They don't think the Rams are going to make it.
um it's at home for the Eagles, and I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so too. I think the crowd is
I
going to
think
be huge. They're going to be nice and comfy.
I think it's gonna be Eagles win on this one. It's gonna be it's gonna be a brutal matchup, but yeah, I think the Eagles win.
I don't think this next game will take much thoughts. Who do you got on the Jets versus the Bucks? And the Bucks are
Bucks.
at home. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. The Colts, which have been putting up a phenomenal performance this year, I will say, against
Oh
the
yeah.
0-2 Titans.
With how good the Colts have been looking,
Yeah.
I just have to be inclined the Colts on this one.
Yeah, I would agree. Now this one is actually more tough. It's Raiders and Commanders, and we're at home for the Commanders in Washington.
Mm,
Geno
Gino,
Smith or the possible backup for the Commanders.
my thing is, I think Geno Smith hasn't been doing super well lately. Um,
He had a good
maybe they
first
were,
week, 350 yards, right, in the air.
he did his first week was good, but man, against the Chargers, it just looks so weak. But at the same time, the Chargers have been killing it this year. I just think the weapons are still there on the Washington side. You know, with Debo, McLaurin, Ertz. Uh, you, without Eckler, you still have Krosky, Merritt, who's going to do solid. I think it is going to be up on the backup QB, but with all these weapons, I think they'll pull out the win on this
Oh,
one.
this is where I differ from you. I'm giving the odds to Vegas. I know they're 15% to 85, but I think this is going to be the upset of the week here. I think Geno Smith is going to pull out a big game.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. I hope it's a close game.
And if anything, this gives me confidence. I got Jacoby Myers, and I'm like, do you play Keon Coleman or Jacoby Myers? It's honestly the question that I face myself every single week, and I think Jacoby Myers is going to be the play this week because if they are playing from behind, which it looks like they're going to be, they'll need to be tossing it. Gino's going to have to toss it, and he's got Brock Bowers and he's got Jacoby, and those are the big two targets for him.
It's true, and Bowers is recovering off his injury. I mean, he was injured in week two, so he he's able to play, but it seems like he's not over it as he is still listed as limited in practice. But if he starts playing full practice, either tomorrow or Friday, I think I think Bowers is a fantastic option, and yeah, we're gonna see more throws to him.
The big giant, yes. Now, this is shocking to me. Chargers versus Broncos. Okay, Chargers are 2 and 0. They're at home. Broncos 1 and 1, but they are favored. The Chargers are favored 90% to 10% on the analysis here. I just what? I didn't think that was the case. I didn't think the Chargers were that good. Am I
If
crazy?
if if they keep playing like they have been, it is definitely gonna be the Chargers because alongside the Green Bay Chargers have been playing fantastic. Um, and I mean, if you just look at their past two games, against the Raiders,
Herbert's,
they
yeah, he's
crushed.
put up 250 and he put up 318, 25 completions week 1, not only 19
Yeah,
completions week 2. Uh
but it just they absolutely smashed. Like they beat the Chiefs, who were a Super Bowl contender last year. Um,
Look at this. Maker of chaos holds Justin Herbert. Is Justin Herbert a top 10 QB moving forward? I like but I hate this riskiness. 9 rushing attempts for 31 yards. And he's
he
got
does.
2 sacks. Don't take those risks, bro. Don't take those
I
risks.
I think the main thing is his throwing. He throws a lot of like targets, and so um, I think like if you look at the first week, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
Yeah, that's
three
big.
tossing touchdowns.
That's
It
big.
was it was a lot of points. I have faith that he will be. He's easily a top 10 quarterback this year if he continues to play as well as he has.
I mean, we got 2 fumbles, 1 loss. So I would say hopefully they manage him a bit more and get him to stop running as much and use Amari and Hampton. Use those weapons and just have the plays to support. You also got Najee Harris. I mean, you have weapons for running. I'd never, like, don't put your QB, don't put your throwing arm who makes those connections in that much danger. It's just not the way I would play. But You're saying Chargers over Bo Nix. Bo Nix was the
Yep.
prodigy last year. A prodigy. And now what? He's nothing?
He's not nothing. It's just he's just not performing like he did last year.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's the thing. He's got some weapons. You mentioned Sutton. We expected a lot more. Points out of Sutton. First week was fine, but week two was a poor showing for him. I know Troy Franklin got a lot of the targets last game. Um, but we'll have to see. And Ingram missed practice, so he's Ingram might be out this week. So you're not going to have him as a tight end. Um, if you might want to pick up Trotman if you have Ingram, and
Yeah, I
it
mean it's tough to judge these guys' performance based off of the last couple of weeks because it seems like Bo Nix is spreading the ball out. He targeted 9 receivers more than 2 times last week, so it's tough for me to trust the offense. I mean, you got Troy Franklin as their number one in receptions with 15 targets, 12 receptions. So it's like, oh, it hurts. It hurts to be a Cortland Sutton carrier. He had a
yeah,
decent first week, but his second week was beyond quiet. And I just want to give it up to the defense, possibly. Those Colts have been unmatchable. But our question here is, will Denver take it away against?
I
And you're saying no, the Chargers will stop them.
yeah I think so because their previous matchup against the Colts just shut them down. I think they allowed 29 points scored against them, and I think the Chargers, who also look fantastic this year, are going to score those points against them.
Well, there you have it. I tend to agree. Now, how are you feeling about my man Rattler? Um, Snake in the boot Rattler against the Seahawks. Now the statistics here say 97% chance that the Seahawks will win at home. But those New Orleans Saints, there's something about them. There's some magic.
Yeah,
Kamara, Olave, they can do something. They can win a game, right? And now's the time to do it against the Seahawks.
I definitely think we're going to see a lot of throwing because, or I keep saying throwing. They're not like going to throw the game. They're gonna throw that football because Seahawks are a solid matchup. I know they're 1-1, but Jack Smith and Jigba has been doing really well this season. I have faith that they're gonna score the points needed to win. But that's just me. I think you'll see a decent game from Rattler though.
And if you're hearing this, he just wants me to play Rattler this week, so I'll get a lower score. Um, Alvin Kamara, Crystal Lave. I mean, look at that. 26, no, 23 targets, 13 receptions for Olave. So again,
Which it should
50-50.
be.
I mean, those Rattler throws, they can get out of hand, right?
Yeah, but I would say one of the key things is on their side is Juwan Johnson. Like he has 20 targets in the first two matches,
Yep,
uh, eight
with
receptions in the first and five in the
13
in the second,
receptions.
the touchdown.
Decent.
So yeah, he's as a tight end, he is a must play. He's the number two tight end for the season so far. So
Here's why I like Jawan Johnson is because the way Rattler plays. Rattler is not known for the Russell Wilson long bombs, right? He's known for those short passes. So Jawan Johnson and Rattler are the perfect combination because he's always going to want to be successful with those slant tight end plays. So
Oh
If
yeah.
you're on the fence, I feel like the New Orleans Saints are going to be tossing a lot this week, and I would definitely give it up to Juwan Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Any other tight ends on here that are playing? No, it's mostly Juwan Johnson. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, you're giving it to the Seahawks, who are doing amazing defensively. And their interceptions are pretty good, so they'll probably pull off that on. Oh, I'll go with the smart pick and I'll pick the Seahawks. Okay, Cowboys and Bears. A
um,
lot of
this
people
one
are
will be.
saying the Cowboys. They're at home at the Bears.
It's gonna be a fun one. I think this one's a close matchup. Uh, I think I'm leaning Cowboys too. They just got a lot of
Yeah.
good weapons this year.
Yeah, I'm leaning Cowboys. They've already picked up a win. They're coming off of an OT win. They got Brandon Aubrey, who just made amazing kicks. This kid cannot miss. If you
Oh
have him
man,
as a
yeah,
kicker, you are lucky. I had him all last year, and he was just phenomenal. Um, I just don't think the Bears are going to be able to put it together. Who are the Bears
yeah. I think they're gonna be.
using? As,
Oh, I was gonna say Odunze. I think is gonna get some love this matchup. They'll definitely be wanting to throw and you know, because I think it's gonna be a high scoring affair.
Yeah, so he was definitely the star of last week on some people's benches. And
Yeah.
maybe this week he won't be a bench rider. I mean,
No,
128
he's
yards is amazing if they can make those connections in a game where they may be wanting to make those big plays. They may be playing from behind, or they may be playing pretty close scoring. So definitely something to keep in mind for Rome Anduz. I can't say his name.
Odunze. Yeah, yeah.
Adunze.
I regrettably didn't have him in because I was going for a more gamble play for my week because I had a decently tough matchup. And yeah, just looking at him, 9 targets the first week, 11 the second, 2 touchdowns this past week. He's a consistently good wide receiver, and he's gonna stay in my wide receiver spot at least for now, while
More
he's doing well.
targets than DJ Moore. So, and he's the wide receiver one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll have it. We'll go with Cowboys there. Now, Cardinals versus the 49ers. The Niners, Brock Purdy put on questionable. I had to take him off my IR and put him on my bench as a questionable player, even though I know he won't play. Um, but they're going up against the Cardinals this week. Both teams are 2-0. However, I will say the Cardinals have had much easier games. Um, I think the 49ers will take this. I don't think the Cardinals will do as well against this type of caliber.
I think so. Juwan Jennings didn't practice today, so this is going to be a tough one. If Juwan Jennings doesn't play, Ricky Pearsall is going to be their main target, which is good for those who have Ricky Pearsall. Um, I don't think their tight end did okay last week, and obviously Christian McCaffrey's doing great. It's
Christian
going to be a tough.
McCaffrey, the bus.
Yeah, yeah. He's yeah, CMC is going to be the workhorse again this week. Um, I I'm leaning Arizona. I think Arizona's going to do better this week.
You think Arizona? That's just because you got Murray.
I mean, I'm partially biased on that. I think
Yeah.
Trey McBride's gonna have a good week. So if you got him on your tight end spot, play him.
I mean, they got
I think
Tongs. You can't count Tongs out. He
That
had
sounds pretty
5 targets, 4 receptions, 31 yards. He got fantasy people 7 points, and in the first week he got 10 points, um, with a touchdown. So they used his play in the red zone. Yeah, maybe something to look out for, Mr. Tongs,
Yeah, I just have a feeling
especially
he's not
with
gonna.
Kettle out.
He's reliant. It seems like he's reliant on that touchdown because he only got 15 yards first week, 31 the second. Um, I I personally wouldn't put him in. I think there are better options to play on tight end side. So that's just me.
Yeah, we saw Luke Farrell. He got a touchdown play in week 2, 58% of snaps, 3 targets, 2 receptions. So they were using his plays in red zone. Yeah, I wouldn't trust the 49ers tight ends. They don't seem to have a consistent play that statistically would allow me to be comfortable there, especially with Kittle out. So yeah, a lot of their weapons gone. Like you said, Juwan Jennings, he's questionable. Um, and really, that leaves you with Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey with a backup QB. So it's tough. It's tough, but their defense is strong. Um, yeah. So you're giving it to Arizona and the Murray. Oh, I'm going against you here. Okay. We got the Chiefs against the Giants. The Russell Wilson in that amazing OT performance against the possibly broken Chiefs. I think we're going to get Worthy back, so that may be exciting. However, I think we're still waiting on that news. Do you take the Chiefs, which are the favorites for this one, as they are on the road?
um I'm leaning the Chiefs. I mean, just because I think Pat Mahomes is a good quarterback. Um I mean, not to say Russell Wilson is bad. He did fantastic against that come at least the close almost win against the Cowboys. Uh, I just think the Chiefs have a better defense than Dallas did, and the Giants are going to have a tougher time against that.
Well, there you have it. So yeah, the Chiefs. They've got to be. They're champions. Mahomes is not losing 4 games in a row, right? Because this is a record now, losing 3 games. So I definitely think that.
Yeah, and I would say week 4 they'd probably lose because the Ravens are doing really well.
Yeah. So it's not in the script for him to lose 5 in a row. Lions and Ravens, both 1-1. Definitely the Ravens are favored. Goff is coming off of a huge performance last week. However, they're on the road, but they're playing Monday night, so they'll be the focus. Tough call, but I feel like nothing can stop Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry is going to be fresh and rested off of not much usage last week.
Yeah, I kind of agree. You know, at home, I think they're gonna do really well. Um, so yeah, I'm leaning Ravens. They just have such good weapons. You know, Zay Flowers over there, Rashad Bateman. You got Derrick Henry as always killing it. Um, and you know Lamar Jackson. Those are the main ones that I'm eyeing because I think they're all gonna do really well this upcoming week. DeAndre Hopkins would be a good flex spot as well. But I mean, at the same time, the Lions have really good offense. I just worry that they have a less defense, and I think the Ravens are going to exploit that.
Yeah, and obviously Lamar Jackson is an animal, so it's tough to say. The call on the game is 34 Ravens, 31 Lions. So we will see. But I'll definitely give it to the Ravens, and that'll give me a 65 prediction. So we'll save that, and I'm locked in for my picks. Thanks, Maker, for helping me go through that. Best of luck on your waiver wire bids tonight, or if you've made any, possibly not. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow morning.
That we will.
Um, just just quickly, is there anybody you want to highlight on the waiver wire?
I mean, I know in a lot of people's leagues, Wandale is still available on some of those. Um, I think, you know, Jake Browning, you know, if you had Burrow, you better be putting some fab up for Browning. Uh, Corey Franklin, I think, is a good eye. To me, he would be one to. I don't know if I would play him this upcoming week, but for the later weeks, against the Bengals, he might be a good one to kind of be a good flex spot for you.
Yeah, he's getting
Romeo,
targets. He's one to watch.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Romeo Dubs, with how well the Packers are playing, I expect him to get more work and more play time. Um, I've seen see Tootin get talked about. Ao Manor, which Drat Wilson, you picked up by the rookie that I had been eyeing after I dropped him for huge. I wanted that Herbert huge stack, so that's what I have.
You and the
Um,
stacks, man. I never like stacks, but we play different. I don't know
those are the
what's
ones I
going on
see.
with the Washington running back because McNichols is listed as questionable. Chris Rodriguez hasn't played a single snap this year. I mean, it's are they going to
They
rely
gotta have a
only
backup.
on Krosky?
No, there'll be
Or
a
they'll
second
pull
running back
Rodriguez
there.
out, who doesn't have any experience this year. Played a
I
little
I
bit of snaps last year.
I think they'll use Rodriguez, and I know it seems like they're leaning that they weren't gonna utilize him. Um, Yeah, I forgot to mention Ramondre Stevenson um, has got a lot of, of of work this past week, so he's also one on the waiver wire. I would definitely have him on your bench to just kind of sit and see how he does.
Yeah, we also got Marks from the Houston Texans. I know he got a little bit more work.
Mm.
Just keep an eye on that because of what's going on with their back end between him and Chubb. Definitely something to keep an eye on. But tons of stuff on the waiver wire. Just wanted to go through a couple people. And that is going to be the managers for this week. So please feel free to like, subscribe, and share because we'll be back next week and all throughout the week with more fantasy football content. Appreciate you coming, hanging out with me, and talking football. And best of luck on your waivers and your games this week.
Oh yeah, and same with you. We always hope we win our matches.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, I'm going to play us out, and we'll catch everyone next time.
See you.